Trailing by one. Under 4.5. Ledee deep. Ledee inside. Yes! And he's got a career-high 21, and the Aztecs have retaken the lead. And it's Mensah that has it. Quickly ahead for Butler. Butler attacking and scoring, and the Aztecs have their largest lead. At 5, pulls up. 3. Good! Arion Trammell with a couple of huge late shot clock triples. That'll do it. San Diego State survives a serious scare and beats BYU on a late run, 82-75, and the Aztecs are 2-0.
Maxine Reynaud in for Stanford. And there's the three ball. And there's the quick three ball up and in with one. Micah Parrish.
Ted Leitner on Jerry Coleman's remove.
Nice, that's a great call because I'm going to do that. And here comes the roll. What a step after the strip inside.
To Michael Jordan at NBA.
Whoa. That's Ramel. Oh, nice feed. Look at the San Diego State bench. Look at the bench erupt.
The traveling crowd for the Aztecs.
Hey, Billy White, Malcolm Thomas, Brad Caldwell, all blocking shots, got the team on the drive field.
Hey, are we going to get a fight song today?
Hey, we're going to get a fight song because the Aztecs won. 3-0, guys. The Aztecs are 3-0 to start the basketball season. Welcome back. It's the Kiss the Rings Sons of Montezuma podcast. That's right. Where we talk nothing but Aztecs basketball because it's basketball season. 3 in a row, guys, to start the season. Number 17, your 14-time Mountain West champion Aztecs basketball. Okay, is that a little too much energy going on?
No.
14-time Mountain West champions, guys. Does that sound crazy? Idea. That might be including like tournament and regular season, a combination of both of those, but it's a fact. 14, man. Kiss the rings. So we're happy everybody is joining us. I know there's a lot of talk with Aztecs basketball. It's a big deal here in San Diego. So we thank you for joining this podcast. We've been having the pleasure of doing quite a few episodes now under our belt, guys, interviewing some players, Winston Shepard. We got some other players coming down the pike, their episodes real soon. Lamont Butler was awesome in our last episode where we also previewed the season. It's really cool to see him starting off the season hot, starting off really nice, guys. So we're going to get into it all. And of course, you could find me at Mateo San Diego. I'm your host. And I'm joined by, well, you cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain this man. It's SD Sports Fiend. What's going on, Fiend?
What's up, fellas?
He was like, let's not record until I put my shades on.
Is bouncing
Fiend mode.
You gotta transform.
And joining us, the sandwich aficionado. It's Mike Tortolot. What's going on, man? How you doing, Mike?
Good. Nice to be back with you guys. I'm glad I saw you guys last week. That was fun at the game. So it was good to get in touch with you guys, and I'm excited about this to get into it here.
What's the sandwich of the week, Mike? What's on your menu this week?
You know what? Capriati's came out with a new cheesesteak with like golden, like honey mustard barbecue sauce on it and stuff like that. So it's
damn.
I don't know. There's a place up here I want to try, but I'm gonna.
Is that really a cheesesteak if it's got barbecue sauce on it?
It's like I don't know. That's a good question.
Isn't that more like a barbecue beef sandwich?
I don't have an answer for you, unfortunately. But it looks good.
You're the aficionado, man.
Yeah, but like, the eye of the beholder is in the trinkets. Wait a minute. No, that doesn't make sense.
Well, everybody deserves a victory sandwich because the Aztecs are 3-0. Start the season beating Cal State Fullerton. Then we got to all witness together BYU. Mike, we beat BYU.
You beat BYU, man.
In your honor. 82-75. That was a crazy game to be at.
Go Aztecs. Fuck BYU.
That was a great game. We got to talk about that.
And of course, just the other night, beating Stanford 74-62 on the road, the first road game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the style of play was a lot different with the Cal State Fullerton game to the BYU game to this last Stanford game. It seemed like when we started off against Cal State Fullerton, we were passing the ball and moving the ball really well. And then against BYU, for whatever reason, we came out just completely flat. And it just seemed like the ball was sticking. And we weren't really getting off good shots. And I thought this last game was just fantastic. All the passing that we were doing and ball movement and, really getting high percentage shots off of those looks, open threes, shots, at the rim, layups. And so I like how I like it when we play that style of offense, because in the past, we've had a lot of difficulty scoring when we're not passing the ball and the ball is sticking, and so it was nice to see that in the Stanford game. I thought the offense was great.
Mike, what stood out to you, man, these first 3 games?
The BYU game was interesting to me, there's nothing like Viejas to me. It's just, there's nothing like it. I think I said before that BYU always plays us tough, no matter. And we were behind the whole game pretty much until the end, and then they figured it out. So they figure out a way to win. They take the punches and they just keep going. The one thing about the BYU game I was looking at is, and I think I talked to you about it, you guys, is it was Rudy Williams, right, that we were recruiting. He was very aggressive in the first few 5-6 minutes. I mean, he played well all game, but he was very aggressive to the point where it's like he was talking shit to the bench, our bench, on multiple occasions. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I was watching him after he would score, because BYU always goes down towards, or the opposing team goes towards our bench in the first half, and the sort of student section in the second half. And the amount of hustle, and I feel like there was a little bit extra from him. And my thought was, well, maybe we didn't choose him instead of him not choosing us. That was kind of the vibe. Now, I might be wrong, but that was kind of the vibe I got from his body language and his demeanor and his kind of aggressiveness. He was always just talking to the bench. Guys sitting on the bench, always talking towards it. He's not talking to the guys on the bench. He's talking to coaches. I think that was my first impression. But in terms of BYU, I mean, we hung tight, and then we figured out how to win, man. I mean, that to me, it says a lot. We had a little trouble with BYU. I didn't think we had much trouble with Stanford, but I think we looked exactly like how everybody thought we were going to look going into Maui.
That was kind of a cool matchup to see. Okay, how was he going to respond to them bringing in Trammell instead of him, right? That kind of that vibe. Is that kind of what you were hitting at?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the semantics of it were, but I just have a feeling that I got the impression that we didn't ask him to come instead of him saying, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. That's just the reaction of how he portrayed himself in that game, is someone who was kind of pissed off about it. I mean, watch the tape. We'll go back if anybody goes back and watches it. I was right there. I was watching it all, so that's just kind of how I interpreted it.
82-75. That game was tricky, man, because they did play us. I mean, they were winning the whole night, despite, whatever kind of numbers. Trammell had 21. Ladie was that was his coming out party, because, Fullerton, he had a nice night, but he looked, there were some bunnies he missed, some easy shots he messed up, and BYU, he brought it. 23 points in total. Like I said, Trammell with 21. So they really took over the game for the Aztecs down the stretch. And then, of course, our guy Butler came up with some huge steals and plays there towards the end.
What really surprised me about that game is just how we came out. We just, we were turning the ball over. Didn't look like we had a whole lot of energy. Didn't look like guys were really getting back and, transition, just kind of going through the motions, which is really surprising, because a lot of us fans were really jacked up for that game. The crowd, you had a pretty packed Viejas Arena. I mean, the energy was great, and it just seemed like the guys they weren't ready to play. And it seemed like BYU came ready to play against us, and we knew early on that we were in a dogfight with them. We tried to come back. Every time we would come back, they would hit a three and stop our momentum. We just couldn't get that momentum going and really get the crowd into it. And so this about 5-6 minutes left in the game, and then once they started going on that run, got the crowd going, we got the momentum, and then it just boomeranged. And I think at that point, BYU was just exhausted. We wore them down with our defense, and that's where we really took control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, in the BYU game, they played more guys than we did. They played 10, we played 9, but they had so many fouls, 26 fouls. So we had 37 free throw attempts to their 16. So Yeah, I mean, eventually you just keep wearing them down, and you get those guys with fouls, and you have to change it changes the whole dynamic of the game. The guy has two or three fouls in the first half. He's not going to play until 5-10 minutes left in the second half. So I think that changed. They had one guy foul out, and then two guys with 4 and 3 with 2 with 3. So the foul disparity is to me is kind of like the pitching disparity in baseball. As you get a starter who's up to 60, 70 pitches in the 4th inning, he's not going to last too long. And these guys with all these fouls, you take 1 or 2 of their starters out with 10 minutes left the first half, that I think that changes their game plan. And then we were able to, we're going to get everybody's best punch. We're the 17th ranked team in the country. Honestly, I think we're probably better than that next week before we go to Maui. We're going to get everybody's best punch. And BYU always hates us. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest. They just don't like each other, So it's just, they're always going to play us tough. And that was the first tough game. I was like, all right, well, this is what we're going to see. So they figured out a way to handle it, man. And Ladie is a monster, dude. Like, I mean, dude is like, I mean, he comes off.
Seeing him up close in person is it's different than the TV, but you see him out there on the floor in person, man. His movement at that size is pretty impressive.
Dude, we have football players.
Yeah.
Remember I told you that? I looked at these guys and you're like, these guys look like football players, man. Like they're huge, dude. So Bradley's a beast. Mensa's big. Keyshot has gotten bigger. Ladie is just, he looks like a defensive end.
That's another thing is, we were able to bully them inside because of our size. They didn't have as much size as like a Stanford did, so we were able to use that in the second half and really attack them at the basket, and they committing fouls. And I know some of their fans were crying on Twitter that they, it was a one-sided game the way it was officiated. I don't buy that. I mean, I saw a lot of the replays where we were getting hacked as well. So I think we just had bigger dudes and we were going at them and they couldn't stop us.
You kind of look at that and you're like, whoa, that may not be a good sign moving forward, because, you get the home cooking. You're not necessarily going to get those calls on the road. But after seeing this team 3 games, and taking into account what you guys are saying, these dudes are physical. These are big guys around the paint. I think opposing teams are going to run into that problem a lot, to where these big bodies, you're going to get called for fouls trying to stop these guys. You're going to get whistled more often. It's up to us to make those free throws. But if our shots are falling, or if they're not from the outside, that inside presence is going to rack up some free throws, going to rack up some fouls against the opposition. So
it's definitely they played a different game against BYU than they did Stanford. More outside shots against Stanford than they did BYU, I think.
Well, and you had to, because I mean, Stanford had much taller players.
Yeah.
With BYU, you had the size advantage. Might as well take advantage of it and go attack the rim.
Yeah.
Coach Jesser says it's good to learn things in a win rather than on a loss, right? Because everybody, after you lose, you say, well, it's a learning experience. But I feel like that game was an excellent learning opportunity, where they were pushed to the brink, but they learned within the game, flipped the switch on, and were able to come out with the win. But going into Stanford, like you said, Fiend, is a different game, man. 19-9 right off the bat with all these 3-pointers. Like you said, you had to take these outside shots. This team is showing that they can win in many different styles, right?
Yeah, it was really good to see that. I mean, right off the bat, they tried to get Bradley involved. I mean, they moved the ball around. Several guys touched the ball, and then they finally got the ball to Bradley for a catch and shoot opportunity, which is where he's most efficient. Shooting the ball is when he's catching and shooting, not when he's in ISO, trying to break his defender off and then, step back, trying to hit the shot. I mean, those shots are not as efficient. It was really nice to see them get him the ball, and he hit that 3, and then it was just a barrage of threes. I mean, multiple guys hitting threes. I think we got a little lucky too. Some of those threes that went in. I mean, did you guys see that 3 by Butler in the corner, hit 6 times on the rim and then finally went in? I mean, when that went in, I was like, you know what? It's our night.
That's shooter's touch, dude. Shooter's rule.
Yeah. It is. Reminds me of another guy that did that.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm glad they hit the threes. They come in bunches, right? But sometimes they fall in love with that. 2 things I kind of noticed is there was 1 or 2 plays where Butler hit that NBA jam speed, and he just went in. It was he was fast. I was wow. He's fast, but there was that one where he just took off, and I'm like, oh shit, man, that's the fastest I've ever seen him play, and then, with the other guys, Keyshawn, I think he is more potent at that little jump floater from 2 or 3, 4, 5 feet away, like, cause he's tall and he can jump over people, and you look at some of his buckets that were early, it's more of a, hey, 3 or 4, 5 feet away, he just jumps and floats it in. He does like that 3-pointer, and I get it, who doesn't, but like, if he can stay in the middle there and kind of get his, he's going to get rebounds and stuff. I just really like him, like a closer William floater to think, because he's very good at it.
So in the Stanford game, guys, I mean, the scoring was spread all around. Mm-hmm. So Ladie, like we're talking about, had 14 to lead the team, but then you're looking at Butler and Keyshawn both with 11. After that, I mean, you got Bradley with 7, Trammell with 6, Seiko with 8, Parrish with 9, a Rope with 6. I mean, it was just spread all around. We talked a little bit about Matt Bradley. These 3 games, he's kind of struggled to find. If you want to compare him to last year, right, then you would say he's struggling. But in this new team dynamic, in this offensive style that we're running, Dutcher says he's going to mix up some things and kind of make some calls that'll help him get started off to get some better shots. But I mean, what is it? Is that basically, you think, all it's going to take, guys, to get him back? I mean, you hear the fans talk like, oh man, this and that, but coach seems pretty confident. Is that pretty much all it's going to take, is just shot selection? Or
he's still out there, giving good minutes, and he's a threat to shoot. So the defenders he's not getting open looks because they're not helping off of him. Where you might have another guy who's, in the corner, who they'll help inside if someone's driving. They're not going to help off of Bradley because they know he can shoot. They're just not getting enough catch and shoot opportunities. Like I said before, one of the things that they could do for him is to run some off-ball screens like they did for Shackle to get him open so that he can catch the ball and fire it from outside, or catch the ball and then drive right away in and use his size advantage. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of him going ISO and clearing out for him. Part of that is because he's sort of, and I hate to say this, but I think he's like a jack of a lot of trades, but master of none. And I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, he's good with the ball in his hands, right? But is he our best ball handler? No. He's a good outside shooter, right? Is he our best outside shooter? No. Can he get to the basket? Yes. He's really good at that. Is he our best? Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you want to put the ball in positions where people can maximize their value, right? And are best at what they do. And so I think right now, like, he's really good when you give him that option, isolation, to try to, get to the basket, to shoot from the outside. But it's not always the most efficient, and that's what we're looking for. And this team has made huge strides in 1 year in offensive efficiency because of the pieces that we brought in, and so he's just having a hard time, blending into that right now, but we're still winning. So I think that there's things that they can do to try to get him open, and they will, and Dutch will work on that. The main thing is you don't want him to lose confidence, for his play to just really fall apart. I don't think it will, but you just gotta try to get him rolling some way or another.
Last year was a lot of hero ball, kind of like clear the way, let him do what he does, and let's see what happens.
I just had one more point with that. Like, if you look at his stats, though, like, he's much more efficient when he's catching and shooting the ball than he is when he is shooting off the dribble, or shooting. Like, he took a shot from like 19 feet, step back, and he hit it. But I was thinking, man, that's a bad shot. Like, that's not an efficient shot. That's not the shot that you want. Even though he does make those shots, so we want to put him in positions where he can be more efficient, and that's, we're gonna have to do some work to try to get him open looks.
I'm not worried about him at all, because I mean, look, he was, after the BYU game, putting up shots. with the team managers. That to me, that says all I need to know about him, Matt Bradley. Not that I ever questioned him, because we all know what he's like, but the fact he's like, fuck this, dude, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to get it back together. And, he's got a pretty stroke, man. Like, he's a good player, and like, there's a saying I remember, don't be upset by the results you didn't get because of the work you didn't do. He's putting in the work. It's going to get there. I think man, their defense is there. They're playing well. I don't think they played their best ball, and they still had, when's the last season we had 80 plus points in back-to-back games?
Yeah, really.
It's been a while.
I think our offense is actually a little ahead of our defense right now. Do you guys think that?
We scored 80 points one time last year.
Yeah, but I think our defense still has a lot more room for improvement. What I'm really liking about the offense this year is we're seeing the pace, increased pace. So they're really trying to push the ball up the court. And that's another opportunity where they could get Bradley open for some easy looks is on transition. And but I really like what they're doing. I mean, you see guys like a rope running the floor, coast to coast. He makes the steal against Stanford and then goes the entire length of the floor and lays it in. That was awesome, So I really like that they're pushing their pace. They're trying to get some easy buckets on the other end. And I like the offense that they're running. It's a mix of pick and roll and some like high posts, with some screens mixed in. And then just the depth that we have with being able to run 9-10 guys out there who can all shoot, who can all play offense. It's been awesome, to watch as a fan. On the defensive end, they've had a little difficulty with like transition defense when they get back, like they're not picking up the guys quick enough. And so they're allowing a lot of open threes. Stanford had a lot of open looks. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they hit like 3 or 4. That's a much closer game than it was, and the other thing on defense that is different this year than we did last year, because we had elite defense last year, is we're not switching screens, like, ball screens. We're not switching every screen. The guys are trying to fight over the screen or they're getting caught underneath, and that's given the other teams open looks. And that has me a little concerned. I know whatever weakness we have, Dutch, and the guys and the coaches are going to work on fixing that. But right now, my feeling is that the offense is actually ahead of the defense.
I would agree with that.
I remember seeing like Trammell trying to fight over, and he's a smaller guy, taking these hip checks and even Bradley, trying to fight over these screens and really getting a lot of contact, having to try and do that. But
I mean, you don't want to give up open looks.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. Last year, they didn't give up. They weren't giving up open looks because they were switching everything. What the steals that they're getting, they're picking up the ball at like 3/4 of a court, and Trammell and Butler are just harassing the hell out of the other team's guards. I mean, and completely shutting them down. So that has caused a lot of turnovers and led to fast break points and a lot of good stuff on the other end. So I'm not saying like the defense is terrible. No, it's not terrible. There's things that can really, really improve with the defense. And there are things also with the offense that can improve. I just think at this point, watching these 3 games, that I think the offense is a little bit ahead of the defense, which is surprising for an Aztec team.
I'll take it any day of the week. So the 2 starting guards for Stanford had a combined 1 point.
Oh my God.
Lockdown.
And that guy hit his opening game, I think he went for like 20.
Yeah, we mentioned him in the preview. They're shooters, and man, there were a lot of bricks. Like you said, Stanford was shooting a lot of bricks. How great was it having Bill Walton on that call, man?
Oh my God, dude, he's the best. I love him. I hope he's in Maui, man. Like he's like we talked about that before. like if we were ever gonna do a show where we were doing like smoking toad venom and doing a didgeridoo in the wild campo and shit like that, he would be the guy that would be doing it. You know what I mean? Like I love Bill Walton. He's just, you learn something new from him every night because he's very intelligent, but he's goofy, right? Like, in the stat that it was amazing to me that I didn't know is Helix High School is the only high school in the country with the first overall pick in the NFL and the NBA draft coming from the same school.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible to me. I didn't think about it because I didn't.
But what was Alex Smith doing at Stanford on the sideline? I can't understand that.
I think he rehabbed when he hurt himself. I think when he rehabbed there, I believe, but he also did like a speech or something there. And so he did the speech and they said, hey, you can be the honorary captain and stuff. Cause obviously he was with the Niners, right? I believe that's what it was. I believe it was something to that effect. My little girl was daddy, all of me, so I couldn't hear it. So, but he was the honorary captain for something he did.
That makes sense. That kind of being up there in the Bay Area with the Niners for so long. And then, okay.
It's kind of odd though to have him the honorary captain against his hometown team, though. I mean,
he went to Utah.
Go to San Diego State. I understand that, but he's from San Diego, so I think that's a little odd. I would have thought that they would have chose for a different game. Back to Bill Walton for a second.
Yeah,
that guy is like a walking, talking billboard for San Diego State, man. He was talking about all the facilities that we have, everything going on. I mean, he was, talking about Adela, JD, and I mean, he just went on and on. And let's face it, this is a Pac-12 network broadcast. I mean, usually those, they're one-sided and they're talking about the Pac-12. Well, we may be in the Pac-12, but we're not right now, in basketball. So it was nice to have Bill Walton, just talking about us so much. And really, I think the guy deserves an honorary degree from San Diego State, man, for all the promotion he's given us.
I'd love to have us three and Bill Walton sitting in Balboa Park recording the Sons of Montezuma Kiss the Rings podcast. How cool would that be?
Do like a yoga session before.
Bro, I'm telling you, I bet you if you asked him, he would do it.
But this is going to be, I'm really happy where they're at right now. I mean, we got 3 wins, 2 of them that are probably going to be pretty good wins come Selection Sunday. We're right exactly where we thought we would be. 3-0 heading into Maui. It's a good spot to be in. And now we got, a tough slate of games, coming up with Ohio State and then, the winner of Cincinnati, Arizona, and then who knows from there. So some more good opportunities to pick up some big wins and get some quality experience against, great opponents in a championship like atmosphere. And I like the momentum from Stanford going into that tournament. Like if we had played BYU and we were going into Maui, I don't think I would feel as confident as I am, having played the way we played against Stanford going in against Ohio State.
Okay, so let's set the bracket. So it's Arizona, Arkansas, Cincinnati, Creighton, Louisville, Ohio State, San Diego State, and Texas Tech. Cincinnati plays Arizona first. San Diego State plays Ohio State, Arkansas, and Louisville, Creighton, and Texas Tech.
I'm really curious to see what they do in Maui. Ohio State, Arizona, or Cincinnati. With Cincinnati shit the bed against somebody.
Northern Kentucky.
I'll tell you what. I'd rather play Ohio State. I'd rather play Arizona.
Of course you would.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona might be the best team in that tournament.
I don't know. Creighton and Arkansas are pretty damn good too.
Yeah, Arkansas. Did you see that guy's dunk today from Arkansas?
No, I didn't see it.
It was. I mean, that might have been the most disrespectful dunk I've ever seen. But I think arguably Arizona and/or Arkansas is the best 2 teams in this thing. So I'd like to play Arizona just to see how we're at. Even if, I'd hate to say, I think we're going to give everybody a run for the money, but you play an Arizona team that is going to probably be in the Elite 8. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, they're going to be tough. They will be. That will be a tough game if we play them. But first, we got to get past Ohio State. And Ohio State, they are 3-0, but they have not played anyone. I mean, their 3 wins were against sub 300 KenPom teams, blew them out. They've got 4 young freshmen. I mean, they're good. They're like top 50, top 40 recruits in the country. So they've got 4 really good freshmen paired with some returning vets and some transfers. So it's going to be a tough game. They play about nine players. So they go about 9 deep. They got their big guys like about 6'7", 6'8". It's going to be a great matchup between him. His name's Zed Key and Jaden Ledee. That's going to be a great matchup watching those guys go at it. But they're not really tall. Other than that, I think he's the tallest player. And then everyone else is like between like 6'4" and like 6'7". So they've got a lot of wings. It's kind of similar to BYU. And that, BYU had kind of taller guards, but they didn't have a lot of big guys in the interior. And that's kind of how Ohio State is. And so you're going to see a lot of length. The guards are going to be taller than our guards, but their interior is not going to be as big as our interior.
They have one guy at 6'11", freshman. I don't know how much he plays.
True freshman. I think he gets in the rotation. Like I said, they got 4 true freshmen who play in their rotation. Justice Suing, he's a transfer from Cal. He's been injured. He was out, I think, most of last year. 6'6" wing. He's really good. He can score. Zed Key is the big guy I was talking about. He's just a double machine. And then they got Sean McNeil, who's a 6'4" guard transfer from West Virginia. He can shoot it from outside. Another 6'5" guard from Oklahoma State, and a 6'6" guard from Wright State. So they've got some length. We'll see how we, what Dutcher wants to do strategy wise. I imagine it's probably going to be pretty similar to what we did against BYU. You just hope that the guys come out with a little more energy this time.
What else can we talk about Maui?
Cheeks?
Yeah, where do Cheeks come into play?
Always Cheeks. I'm excited.
Can't wait to watch it. I'm so excited for San Diego State basketball.
I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
Dude,
I'm really excited about Ohio State. I have a friend who went. So I have a friend that is from Ohio, went to Kent State. All the shit he wears is Ohio State. And I'm like,
that's how it is.
And I go, what year did you graduate from Ohio State? Oh, I didn't go to Ohio State. Well, what does that mean? Like, where'd you go? Kent State. All right. Antonio Gates, Julian Edelman, right? Oh, I don't watch them. I just watched Ohio State. And where's the Ohio State come from? What's that? Is there like another one?
Nuts.
I think that's what we should do. The San Diego State University. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on. The SD Sports Team. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see Justice Suing's from Honolulu, so he's gonna have some family there. That's a small arena. That's like, how many is that seat? That's smaller than like, I think
it's like it's smaller than a high school gymnasium.
Like 5,000 at most, right? If that. I hope Walton is I hope Walton is doing the game, because he typically does the Maui games, or 2 of the 4. I'm just excited to play some teams that we haven't played before, man. Like that. You get an opportunity to play in Ohio State. You get an opportunity to play Arizona again any year, and then you get a chance to play. I don't know who would be coming out of the bracket on there, even Arkansas or whatever. But I mean, those are some big time schools, man. Like let's arguably, we are the least fanfared of all those schools. I mean, except for Cincinnati in that tournament, history wise.
Yeah, no, that's pretty safe to say. Pretty safe to say.
Yeah, which is great because like you said, that's a first, beating Stanford. So we're a basketball school.
Is that what this means? Being able to play in the Maui?
We're a basketball school. Yeah.
Is that what that means?
We have transitioned to a basketball school, so everything revolves around that team. So if we can beat some of these teams.
Is San Diego State a basketball school or football school? We don't have enough time to get into this debate. But
yeah, we're a basketball school. End of story.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
We'll save that debate till the next episode, because I know I got a bone to pick with you about that, dude. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for joining, and keep a lookout for some more podcasts throughout the season, some more interviews coming down, a big interview coming down shortly. So, and of course, very soon, Lamont Butler's own NIL gear that you can find available at sonsofmontezuma.com. Make sure you're checking those out as holidays are coming up, so you could get some stocking stuffers. All right, guys, Mateo San Diego, SD Sports Fiend, at Mike Tortolot. Find them on Twitter. You get all the Aztecs tweets.
Let's go get some San Diego State Ale Smith. Enjoy it. Hey, you guys go Monday night to Ale Smith and watch the game.
Dude, when is Ale Smith going to be at Vejas? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, what is that all about, dude? Like,
I forgot to bring that up.
We have a beer named after your school, but, you know, we're just not going to serve it. Oh, cool. Let us have that shitty red trolley. Great. Whatever. Rubbish, man. But hey, go Aztecs. Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have fun with your families and friends. Go Aztecs. World Cup, San Diego State basketball. Great week. Enjoy the holidays.
Let's go, guys. Let's get this championship in Maui.
Yes.
Bring home a top 5 AP ranking.
We win the championship there. Fiend said he's going to streak down Montezuma Mesa.
I did not say that.
If the Aztecs come back with a top 5 ranking,
Bro, here's the thing, dude. If they win that tournament, listen. If they win that tournament, they have a case to be number 1.
You know how much trouble I could get in for streaking down Montezuma? No.
But like, I honestly, man, if they beat Ohio State, then they play Arizona, beat them, and then they say they play like an Arkansas, they beat them. I think you have a case for them to be the number 1 team in the country.
Wow.
Those are 3 big time teams, man. Like, how do you not at least have them in the discussion? You know, maybe because of San Diego State. But if you beat those teams, I think you have a case to be number 1 in the country.
Okay.
Will they be? It's a different story.
I'm saying top 5.
Worry about Ohio State and then everything else. We'll figure that out later, you know?
we'll find that out, guys. Monday night.
Yes. All right, guys.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
But cashing out those too. And even driving dimes if he's not looking at shoes. A-Dub, Slave 2, catching all the deep ball. In the lane, jumping over people like a